Zoom presentation. I really appreciate everyone's effort, and honestly, hats off to the administration, alhamdulillah, for facilitating this for everyone to learn. So, inshallah, I just want to just take this brief time to talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy and the Prophet's mercy as well. And one thing that is really important to keep in perspective is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a lot of responsibilities, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also the most merciful. And written on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's throne is that his mercy outweighs his anger. So what does this all mean for us? As Muslims, we are expected to uphold what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has enjoined. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us to fast. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us to pray. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us morals, and he has taught us how to be guided through the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's not enough that we look at the book of Quran. We also have to take into account the person who it was revealed to. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the greatest of all human beings. And when we look at his life and we look at some incidences of his mercy and his rahmah, we recognize that he was the greatest of all human beings. And we realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us so many opportunities to do good. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always giving us chances in our life. And it's just up to us whether we want to take those chances and whether we want to live up to that responsibility. My dear respected brothers and sisters, every single one of us is fallible in a way. Every single one of us has done some kind of sin or some kind of guna, something that we are not proud of, and something that we are ashamed actually to talk about. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a hadith, Rasulullah talks about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive the person who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts a blanket over the person for any type of deed that they may have done in the dark of the night. This is a hadith to a close meaning. But he will not forgive the person who takes off that veil of cover that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to them and is proudly declaring that I did this and that and this and that, and he's boasting about his sin. This type of person Allah will not forgive. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually giving us so much benefit that if we do have some kind of private issue or some misdeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually overlooking that and not revealing it to the general population. And if someone tries to expose another brother or sister's deeds in front of the general population, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will expose them on Day of Judgment. So we have to do our actual very best to try to be on the same page with our brothers and sisters, be merciful and kind to them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this, there's a hadith actually that talks about the mercy of Allah, that Allah mentions to close meaning that even if your deeds, your bad deeds were as the foam of the sea, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could forgive that entire sea. And if you go to the beach, you go to the ocean, and you just see the foam, it keeps coming, it keeps pouring, it looks monotonous, it keeps happening over and over again. The tide keeps coming, ebbs and flow. And that's our life. Like we keep going in, day out. We're doing some kind of sin. We're doing some kind of thing that displeases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is still in his infinite mercy, willing to overlook these types of things, provided that we are people who actually want to do tawbah and actually want to improve our lives. So this is the mercy. Allah, it also says in another hadith that if the son of Adam does an earth full of sin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will return it with an earth full of forgiveness. So who can be greater than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his mercy? The greatest trick that the devil has done is make us convinced that we are also sinful, that we're not actually that we can't even do anything good in our life. Our life is over. We should just keep doing bad because there's no way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive us. This is one of the greatest tricks that the devil does, and makes it ruin your good deeds, and also makes you think that, I can't get any better. This is how I'm going to be. That's not true at all. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed us really that in this short amount of time we have, he has given us this time in order to act and become better people. And the type of, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even mentions in in Surah Furqan near the end part, فَأُولَٰئِكَ يُبَدِّلُ اللَّهُ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ. That bima amalu, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to convert people's bad deeds into good deeds if they actually have this proper tawbah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always giving you a shot in life. Uh, I just wanted to talk really briefly, just, there's a Japanese type of pottery, and it's or a type of like ceramic design that they do. It's called kintsukuroi, and it's fascinating. The basic object is that if you have something broken in your home, so you have like a pottery or like you have a chair, you have furniture, you have table, this kind of thing. Rather than throwing out what's broken, you repair it, and it's repaired with gild, and it's golden around the area. So within the cracks on the pot or the glass, you can actually see exactly where the defect was. But then now, where those cracks, you're going to see like gold lining that happens between it, and it's understood in their culture that people make mistakes, that this imperfection is part of our life, and not to throw away this whole idea of discarding everything, but to repair what is actually uh, but to repair what's actually broken. And people can recognize where the fault was. People can actually recognize where like the damage was, and how you improved and how you changed over life. A person may be one way before, and then they can completely change their life another way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only person who gives hidayah. If we, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Najm, فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Don't think you're pious. Don't think you're amazing. If you fall into this trap of thinking that you're amazing, then this is actually going to lead you, head first into Jahannam. May Allah protect us. May Allah give us, forgiveness in that. There's a hadith actually related by Tirmidhi. Rasulullah said, "My intercession will be for amongst those of my ummah who have committed major sins." So you can imagine that people have done major sins, and they think that their life is over, and then they do this, keep going into it. It becomes this negative feedback loop. That's what they keep doing. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah are just telling you how amazing it will be, inshallah. Won't it be amazing that we've gone through so much? We've done, alhamdulillah, people have gone through way more than I have ever gone in my life. We think fasting is hard. People are they're living in the most complete turmoil in their life. Refugees, their family, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will test you. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَالنَّقْصِ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to test you by taking away some of your rizq, by keeping you hungry, by testing you with loss of life in your family. What does he say? فَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. Give glad tidings to the people who have patience. الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُم مُّصِيبَةٌ قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. That when they come and the calamity has befallen them, something has happened, they say, to Allah we belong, to him we belong, to him we return. So the thing is, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the option and he has the prerogative of forgiving every single person, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done a test for us. He's also laid down some expectations as well. You don't want to be a person, if you're an employee at work, you don't want to be someone who keeps making the same mistake again. You want to be someone who improves and gets better in life and avoids those types of pitfalls that happened before. And but like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also recognizes the cyclical nature of humans, about how even the root word of human in Arabic, insan, comes from nasyan, which means to forget. This is our life. But the thing is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that this is actually going to happen for us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prefers this way, that human beings make mistakes and ask for forgiveness and tawbah. And there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that if there were to be a civilization, hypothetically, that never committed any mistakes, never did any sins, Allah would actually replace those people with the people who did sins and would do tawbah though. So this is how amazing it is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is wanting to hear the voice of his crying servant. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to hear the voice of his servant who has that piteous voice, who is going as a slave. The slave and the master are different roles. The slave obeys, the master chooses. The slave is the one who listens whatever the master wants to do. The slave comes in not having any conditions. He comes in accepting whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told him to do, and accepts whatever happens. That is actually that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put for the life. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said he didn't create the jinn or the man except for his worship. So, my dear respected brothers and sisters, when we think about our life, we have to look at ways that we can improve and be better people as well. We should always hope for the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but at the same time, we have to live our life in a way that we avoid the mistakes and we try to protect ourselves from falling into the trap to begin with. A very common phrase in medicine is that an ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure. It is better to avoid getting into problems than to do it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that everyone's situation is different. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is looking really to forgive people in this life. It's not that he doesn't want to do it. I want to conclude actually with Rasulullah sallallahu gave a hadith. He was going up into the mimbar, and every time he took a step on the mimbar, he said Ameen. And he said 3 times. And the Sahaba have never seen this actually happen before, that the Rasulullah is walking up the mimbar and then he says Ameen 3 times. And they said, what is the reason, Ya Rasulullah? And Rasulullah said that he saw the angel Jibreel, and every time he took Jibreel made a statement, and every time that he made a statement, Rasulullah agreed with him, said Ameen, and then walked up the step. So the first, I may be wrong on some of the order, and I apologize. Inshallah, someone more knowledgeable than me can always correct me. But the Jibreel alayhi salam said that, woe to the person whose the parents are alive and they're not being taken care of by the children. And the Rasulullah said Ameen to it. Another person, and the other one is, woe to the person who, after the Prophet's name is said, they don't say alayhi salatu salam. They don't send peace and salawat on him. And Prophet said Ameen to that. And the other type of person that Jibreel mentioned, he said, woe to the person that all of Ramadan has passed and he couldn't seek forgiveness from his Lord. So he must have done something actually not cared about or not taken anything seriously at all, that this is like the easiest time in the world, the easiest time in the year, that the doors of Rahmah are open, the doors of Jahannam are closed, the shaitan is locked up. So you have like really no excuse to be a better person in a way. I mean, we all make shortcomings, Allah forgive us all. I'm hardly perfect. I really don't consider myself that way. There's so many things I can improve on as well. But the point is that the Ramadan is such a special time. Don't lose this opportunity. Make as much istighfar as possible. I want to conclude that Rasulullah, the most sinless person, the most masoom person who has ever came into this world, the person who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has shielded from any type of indecency. When he was a baby, when he was young and he wanted to go to a wedding, there was some, bad customs that are going on for the wedding. So Rasulullah went to the wedding and he fell asleep during it, and he couldn't even be exposed to that. This is like how masoom Rasulullah was. And this is the type of person who sought istighfar every single day. For what? What did he do? He didn't have any crime. He didn't have any problem. He didn't have any blemish to him. Alam nashrah laka sadrak. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened his heart. He cleaned his heart completely. But even still, the Prophet is showing us an example that we all have to make istighfar. We do so many sins. We hurt so many people we don't even know, unintentionally, intentionally. So my dear respected brothers, this is a month of mercy from Allah. I want to just say that let's all just try to seek istighfar. Let's all just try to improve ourselves. Don't listen to shaitan thinking you can't be a better person. All of us can be better people, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope, inshallah, we increase the participation, let everyone else know. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all tawfiq. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.